Hey guys, it's B Media. Now, I have been an outspoken critic against gaming-centric headphones. Gaming headsets are not worth your time because the cheap ones are terrible and they're basically just land waste, and then the expensive ones just aren't worth that much money. You can get such better quality by getting a standalone mic and a good headphone. Like, you can get the Kiwi Ears Altruva for $70, and that is a great sounding open back headphone. Or if you're one of those people that just has to have a boom mic, check out the SimGuy EP5. I just did a video on it. It's $125 and it comes with a little boom mic, and it's just a good headphone. You're getting sound quality first. You're not getting all these bullshit features first, and then we got a couple drivers in them. Gaming headsets are not worth your time. I personally hold on to the belief that generally gaming-centric headphones are overpriced, under-delivering, mass-produced trash that is meant to just ship as many units as possible to people who don't necessarily know what they're looking for and fall for the marketing. But then ASUS/ROG dropped this video.
Audiophiles sometimes have a bit of a challenge. Do you buy an audiophile grade pair of headphones, or do you buy a gaming headset with an integrated mic and all of the gaming features you need? Well, you don't have to decide anymore, because ROG and HIFIMAN teamed up to build the ROG Kithara. This is a planar magnetic open-backed headset that is going to give you all of the sound quality benefits that you get from an audiophile headphone, like that spacious soundstage from the open-backed headphone, the low distortion from planar magnetic drivers, but the increased comfort, the detachable boom microphone, and other gaining features that you know and love from ROG.
So ROG teamed up with HIFIMAN to make the audiophile-inspired wired gaming headset. I immediately reached out. I even grabbed a couple contacts from a fellow content creator that I'm pretty good friends with. After about a week of waiting, I didn't hear anything. So I went ahead and spent $300 of my own dollars on an ROG x HIFIMAN Kithara. I figured that their lack of responding to me was not going to hinder my ability to serve my audio community. Well, of course, as soon as mine showed up, I got an email back that said, heck yeah, we can send you one. So I have two. So thank you, ROG, for sending me one. However, the one that ROG sent me is still sealed. The one that I have been testing, the one that I am reviewing, is going to be this one that I personally bought. But I do have plans for both of these headphones, so make sure you're following my personal channel so you don't miss out on that announcement. This is the ROG x HIFIMAN Kithara, a 100mm planar magnetic open back headset with some serious audiophile pedigree behind it. HIFIMAN is responsible for some serious market disrupting audiophile headphones like the Sundara Edition XS and Aria. Are they able to do it again with Kithara, or is the audiophile pedigree of HIFIMAN diluted by the general slop of gaming headsets? In the box, as soon as we open it, we are greeted with this quick start guide going over how to use the two different cables that we get and how to swap ear pads, because we do also get two sets of ear pads. Under that, we get this marketing mumbo jumbo that I always think is pretty tacky, because you hear what others don't. Built for gamers who demand every detail. Now it's time to experience sound on another level. Load up and game on. Guys, chill out. I already bought the product. There are a lot of layers to this box. We got a 6.35mm, 4.4mm, and 3.5mm adapter. Our Type-C adapter with dual mic and headphone output. Under that, they give us two different cables. This one gives us our integrated mic with volume and mute toggle. And I know you're curious as to how that microphone sounds, so I'm gonna read to you The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. I'm not kidding. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up, and pop, out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for some food. On Monday, he ate through one apple, but he was still hungry. On Tuesday, he ate through two pears, but he was still hungry. On Wednesday, he ate through three plums, but he was still hungry. On Thursday, he ate through four strawberries, but he was still hungry. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges, but he was still hungry. Oh my gosh, on Saturday, he ate through one piece of chocolate cake, one ice cream cone, one pickle, one slice of Swiss cheese, one slice of salami, one lollipop, one piece of cherry pie, one sausage, one cupcake, and one slice of watermelon. That night, he had a stomachache. The next day, it was Sunday again. The caterpillar ate through one nice green leaf. After that, he felt much better. Now, he wasn't hungry anymore, and he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big, fat caterpillar. He built a small house, called a cocoon, around himself. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks. Then he nibbled a hole in the cocoon, pushed his way out, and he was a beautiful butterfly. You're going to tell me how this microphone sounds, and you better let me know if you like the story or not. Next, we got what can probably be considered to be our audiophile cable. It has a plastic sheath, so microphonics aren't an issue, and this is where those different terminations come into play. The end of this cable has these 4 holes and a screw locking collar so that you can swap these out like so. There's also this little locating notch to help you line up the pins correctly so you cannot incorrectly install these terminations. Now we have the headphone itself. If you are familiar with HIFIMAN's headphones, then this ear cup shape is probably very familiar to you. Same kind of egg-shaped ear cups as their higher-end headphones. This design is very spacious. I have no issues with the ears touching any part of the inside of the pads or the back mesh here toward the driver. There is a huge level of adjustment, and these headphones do run large. Check this out. I am on the 2nd notch from the bottom, and this looks pretty freaking silly with how tall that headband is. Thankfully, the suspension strap is padded, so I really have no issues with the comfort on my head. Clamp force is really light. If you tend to move around a lot while gaming, this headphone might not stay put as much as you would need it to. I think this is a very comfortable headphone. Digging down to the bottom of the box, we find our 2nd set of pads, which is a nice segue into sound. For sound, we have a 100mm planar magnetic driver, 2 sets of pads, one is velour and the other is a hybrid material. Both pads have perforations on the inside and both are slanted, being thinner in front of your ears and thicker behind your ears. The pads do change the sound to a pretty noticeable degree, and a quick note on that, the pads are held in place by these little plastic clips that are actually pretty finicky. If you're constantly swapping pads back and forth, I would not be surprised if these little plastic clips start breaking. In terms of sound, I think the hybrid pads are going to be more the way for gaming, while the velour pads favor music. Now, I don't have a measurement rig here, but I do believe there are measurements of this headphone on Squiglink. I'll drop a link for that in the description down below. Now, what I hear out of this headphone, bass is very well extended, mid-range is nice and flat, but treble is pretty uneven and kind of peaky, especially around that 6 and 8K region. However, in video games, you're very unlikely to notice. Then the upper treble, like 10 kilohertz and above, gets pretty quiet with the stock hybrid pads. I think that high-pitched instruments like cymbals, bells, chimes, other things like that are easily swallowed up by the bass in the mid-range just because I don't think they're very well represented with the hybrid pads. But then we swap over to the velour pads and we try not to break those little plastic clips. You really got to line them up like just right. Otherwise they're not gonna go. Remember when I said that these are finicky? Oh, I think I heard a clip. Damn it, it popped out. Come on! You're only giving me this much trouble because I'm recording now. Alright, the version of me that is editing this needs to cut all this out. The velour pads kind of flip that script a bit. We get that upper treble back, and then I think it brings vocals quite a bit more forward. It's probably trying to accentuate like that 1 to 3 kilohertz region, which I would imagine the hybrid pads kind of recess that 1 to 3 kilohertz region just to help that more spacious, soundstagey, atmospheric effect. Now, most of my music library is all rock and metal, with the occasional artists like Rag and Bone Man or 21 Pilots kind of squeezing their way in. But I've really enjoyed my time with this headphone, regardless of whether or not I was listening to more emotional tracks like 45 by Shinedown, A Tout Le Mode by Megadeth, Like a Stone by Audioslave, or more aggressive and in-your-face tracks like Bloodline by Slayer, Confrontation by OTEP, or My Plague by Slipknot. I think Kithara did an exceptional job with kind of acquiescing to whatever I wanted to throw at it. Again, with the velour pads for music. Alright, we're putting the hybrid pads back on because we're swapping back over into gaming mode. Alright, the hybrid pads went on a lot easier than the velour pads did. One thing to note for gaming is that this is a very open headphone. So like it's not blocking out any sound getting to me. It's like every noise around me is just going straight through the ear cups straight into my ears. This is a very acoustically transparent design. And do not just turn your volume up louder to compensate for that. Protect your hearing. You cannot undo hearing loss. My main test for gaming with this headphone was Hellblade's Senua's Sacrifice. If you haven't played that game before, the sound designers for that deserve all of the awards. There is a ton of attention to atmosphere, like when you're walking around, there's always some sort of weather, rustling of the bushes, voices talking to you from all different directions and distances. For you gamers slash audio nerds out there, I think Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is a game that you really should play. It is a really fun one to just immerse yourself into. The good news here is that I had absolutely no issue with being able to judge direction or distance, and audio cues in combat were also very clear. Another game that I spent a ton of time in just because I really enjoy it is Fallout 4. I know what I like to hear in that game, and thankfully it's more of the same story here. Directional cues, very clear. Being able to judge distance, it's very clear. Also, gun and explosion sounds are very fun to listen to. They're not boomy, they're not over the top, they're not kind of just like swallowing up everything. Bass is really fast, bass is really tight, so those explosions, those gunshots, they make their entrance and they leave immediately. This is not by any stretch of the imagination a muddy or boomy headphone. It's very all well controlled. So this headphone really feels like you're getting two in one, and I hate that sort of buzzword marketing too, so don't you at me about it. I hate using that sort of terminology as well. However, in this case, you have the velour pads and the braided cable to plug into your favorite source, chill out, and listen to music. I hope that Kithara marks a really important shift in gamers' perspectives of what their audio can be, and that more companies use this as a blueprint moving forward. In previous videos where I've compared gaming headsets to audiophile headphones or whatever you want to call it, I always get comments of like, these are in different worlds, these are apples and oranges, cope. The fact of the matter is that they're all in the world of headphones, whether they be open back or closed back or dynamic drivers or planar magnetics or wired or wireless. Some headphones suck and some headphones don't. I also hope this marks a shift in attitude from it's okay that my $300 gaming headset is a boomy mess because it's for games, to wow, this $300 headset lets me hear things so much clearer. The last thing to talk about with this headphone is that at $300, it's simply just a really compelling headphone. I think HIFIMAN really put their best foot forward here. You don't need to be a gamer to be interested in this headphone. I think it has a more pleasant treble presentation than the Sundara. I think it has a more evened out mid-range than the new Edition XV. And at $300, it's probably HIFIMAN's best $300 headphone when you're purchasing something brand new. I think I've rambled enough at this point. I've been thoroughly impressed with the ROG Kithara. Not only does it go on my recommendation list, but it's gonna be a B Media pick as well. I hope this helps. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. Please check out the ROG x HIFIMAN Kithara on the recommendation list. And of course, this video is brought to you by Linsol. Linsol is an awesome place for you to consider your next audio purchase. If you are even thinking about buying anything for your audio setup, please check out Linsol first. Unfortunately, Linsol does not carry the Kithara, but we still felt that this headphone was a very important piece of audio tech to share with you all. And that's it for me. Later.